Hi everyone, Andrea Mills here. Today we're going to talk about kindergarten with ACE curriculum. Kindergarten is also known as preschool with ACE or reading readiness. So let's go ahead and get started. Kindergarten with ACE is the only program or the only school year that you will actually have the teacher or parent working with the children directly all year long. Second grade through 12th grade, everyone works independently and you're just there to help when they need help. And in first grade, they are spending just the first 12 weeks working with you, and then they're pretty much on their own. But kindergarten is a one-on-one all year long. So let's go ahead and take a look. First off, you will get 4 manuals like this. This is the volume 1. But there's 4 manuals, and each one it goes for 1 quarter, so that's 9 weeks. You'll see down the side here, this is general information, and then week 1 we'll be learning the A sound with antelope. Week 2 will be mule, and so on. They teach the got some crud there. They teach the sounds in like a phonetic order rather than alphabetical order, so that they can, once they hit first grade, they can start learning to read actual words very quickly. So in general information, we have first off some information about giving the coordination development tests, which is this thing right here. And this is something you can do if you choose to. I think you do it at the beginning, middle, and end of the school year, and it just is a way to evaluate their personal coordination. It tells you throughout the manuals when to do these tests, so it's built right into the daily curriculum. Left, right, awareness, and then all throughout it also gives you activities to do to help develop some of these things. Next is just general information on setting up a learning center, which again, ACE was designed for a school setting, so a lot of this is not necessarily going to be pertinent to a homeschool, but it does give you lots of good information that you might be able to glean some ideas from. So I would, I like to read through it and try to get some good ideas. So that's what this whole section is about. Let's flip ahead here. Next is information on using these star charts. I do happen to have one of those, even though I don't have a kindergartner right now. I must have saved one year. So this actually comes out of it's the last page of the first English piece, and you just cut it out, and you can put their picture right here, and then as they finish each pace you would put a star here, and then as they learn their scripture memory, each week you would put a Bible sticker right here. Next is information on filling out the progress report, which is this right here. It's just a little report card for kindergarten. And then information on filling out the little diploma that comes just here with the last, I think this is the last page of the last English piece. So you can have a little graduation ceremony if you want to. This is all tips on reading stories or dynamic storytelling right here, how to kind of be a good oral reader. And then this is a little section, if you want to do it, you can make copies of this, and it's to test your knowledge of the previously read information, and a score key that goes with that little test there. This is an attendance chart, and again, this is designed for a whole classroom, so this would be a little overkill for one person, but you could still use it for taking attendance if you wanted to. This is the weekly format chart, and it gives you a brief, like a one-page overview of every day's schedule, so that you can see that generally things are going to go along the same for some things, like physical development is going to happen every single day. But then down here, Monday's going to have a math review. Then we're going to do English the next 2 days, 3 days, 4 days in that time slot. Monday would have a character building story in this time slot. The rest of the week we're going to be doing Bible stories. My kindergartners are not, we don't do school on Wednesdays because we go to the library during the time that we would be doing the schoolwork. So I made my own chart here to show what we are going to be doing, you know, our little routine for the week. Okay, so this section that I just showed you, this general information, is exclusive to the first manual. The next other 3 manuals don't have any of that in here, but they do all have this page, which tells you everything that you're going to need supply wise for the entire week. So week 1, you're going to need construction paper, you're going to need a whistle, you're going to need an American flag, a safety pin, and of course it tells you if something's optional, and if you want you can look ahead and see what it's for to decide if it's something you're actually going to do or not. But it's kind of nice to have this list ahead of time, and it actually has everything for the whole 9 weeks in that couple of pages, so that you can kind of be prepared. And the list looks really long, but mostly it's stuff that you already have around the house. So it's not like you're coming up with weird random things. It's not too difficult to get this stuff. And they recommend you have one of the little mini trampolines so that you can use that while they're counting. They can jump on it and count. And I think that sometimes they use it for some of the PE activities. Next is a section on making bulletin boards. So there's a lot of times you're going to need a way to copy with both kindergarten and first grade, so it would definitely be helpful to have a printer that you can copy with. These are ways to make copies on colored paper for making borders for your bulletin boards. But then for each week, if you choose to, it shows you what the bulletin board should look like when it's all laid out, and then, you know, what the purpose of it is, and then it has all the things that you can copy to make your bulletin board for that week. And I was actually just thinking that, you know, I don't have room. I used to actually have a bulletin board, but I just don't have room anymore. But I was just thinking that maybe I could just reduce these down like to 50% or 25% or something, and make it on a sheet of paper, and then we could just put it in the back of their binders, because we use binders that have those plastic covers you can slide paper into, so we could just turn the back of their binder into a little mini bulletin board. So I think I might do that this year. And there's enough bulletin boards plans in here for making, I can't remember, let's see, 19 of them, different bulletin boards. Now I'm going to skip the first week because it's always different than the ones after, because of getting, you know, all the introduction stuff is in there. So we're going to skip up here to week 2 and take a look at it. Let's see, this is a review day, and it's going to tell you you're going to need an envelope today, you're going to need 1 sheet of drawing paper, an overhead projector. I think they're doing like a shadow thing. We just have used a lamp when we did this, or sometimes we just take a picture and do it that way. But anyways, so it tells you all the stuff you need, and then gives you your opening activities. You're going to do the pledge, your songs that you're learning. I think you learn a new song every month, I believe. Well, we're doing a calendar work, learning days of the week, practicing their names. Tells you can read a poem from the Christian Mother Goose Big Book. That's this book here, if you choose to use it. My mom got this for us, but I don't think that ACE even sells it anymore, and I didn't see it on christianbook.com either, but I did see some old ones on Amazon. So if you wanted to get that book to go with your kindergarten stuff, it calls for reading stuff out of it quite a bit. We just skip it if I don't want to do it. Anyway, so then it tells you here, we're going to do science, page 1. And there's always a picture in the manual of exactly what the PACE page looks like. Although the one in the PACE is actually in color, the one in the manual isn't. But it gives you directions on what to do. This one we're going to be reading a story first. And then it has comprehension questions. Then we're reviewing the sound that we've learned. Oh, this is a review story, and I always just use a pencil and I write in what page number we should be turning to. Then for physical development, it tells you some different exercises that you can do, and it tells you exactly which day it showed the directions for that. So we got a beanbag toss, so then you can look back at the page there if you don't remember how to do something. And they put a key next to ones that are really important to do if you can do them. Sometimes I don't have the equipment for stuff, but it is nice that they always have these in there so that I don't have to think of PE activities. Then we're moving on to some English. I actually bought these used and somebody else had already highlighted them. I don't like the highlighting, so it's only my first manual that was highlighted because apparently whoever was using them stopped using ACE after the first quarter, so I got some brand new manuals that just have a little highlighting in them. Anyway, so here's the English PACE 1. We're going to do pages 8 and 9, so it shows you exactly what page 8 looks like, and then it tells you, this is what you say out loud to them. Say the names of the pictures. So then they would say we have an apple, axe, bird, ant. And then we're going to listen to the ah sound. So I usually review it and say the words again, emphasizing the ah sound. And then with your red marker, draw a line from Abby Antelope to the pictures beginning with the ah sound. And then you wait for them to do that. And then tell them, with your red crayon, color the ah sound pictures. Something that I like with ACE is even though they don't know how to read, we always, before we begin a page, review these visual instructions. And so we say we're going to listen, we're going to look, and we're going to draw. And then I go ahead and say listen carefully with your eyes, look at the number 0. Find the circle that has 0 boys in it. Then with your red marker, draw around the dotted circle. And I like that even though they aren't reading yet, they're still learning to think about what the directions are ahead of time so that they learn some independence, even though they're not really independent yet. So on this particular day, you're going to do a silhouette bulletin board. We actually don't do this anymore. We have before, but again, this is something that you just use what works for you and skip what doesn't, but that's where we're going to use the projector to make a silhouette, and then it's going to decorate the bulletin board that they would have used. Then there's always a scripture memory, and the first week we learned to say Psalm 100 and then make a joyful noise, and we learned to put our hands around our mouth so it's like we're shouting. And then this second week we're learning the parts that say unto the Lord all ye lands, and it just adds a couple of lines each week until the end of the quarter. They can say the entire Psalm 100, and each quarter has its own scripture that you are learning, and it's pretty impressive hearing them say the whole psalm when they're little tiny kids. So this would be science page, and then social studies, and in this one they get to glue and cut things, which is fun. So this is Sandy Sunfish, and there's a lot of times a craft that will come up and it gives you all the directions, and then there's, I don't know if that one needed it, but if it needs something to be copied, then right with that day there will be a page that you can copy to cut out to do the craft. Something else that there's a lot of things included is making file folder games, and it gives you the directions on as those come up how to make those. This is one that I made for the antelope mule matching game. So we've got antelope and mule, and then this is a bunch of pictures. This is an axe, and so they would look at the pictures and decide which side it goes on. And there's quite a few file folder games that they can make, which is kind of a fun thing for them to do. We also use this Sterilite box that I filled with sand, and they can use this to draw their letters in, because they don't actually really learn to write letters in kindergarten. They just they learn to draw with markers and things, but they're not actually writing words or letters. And so this is a way for them to get some experience without actually doing it. I guess the reasoning is that, well, that's what they do in first grade, is they learn to read and write. So this is just a preparation for first grade, which is why it's called preschool sometimes, or kindergarten. In fact, if you're not sure if your child is ready for first grade, they may be already. So you can take this ABCs with AC and Christie reading readiness test. You can get those from ACE. I'm not sure if you can get them on christianbook.com or not, but anyways, you can take this, and then it tells you whether or not they are actually ready to start first grade. So you could just skip kindergarten altogether if it shows that they are they've learned all the skills they need to learn and are ready to move on. So that's something to keep in mind, that you don't necessarily need to automatically even do kindergarten. You can check that out and see if they're ready to move on already. Well, I don't have any kindergartners this year, but I did have a couple of stray paces here. So this is all the kindergarten paces start with RR, so it's Reading Readiness 11 is what that stands for. This is in English, almost at the end of the school year. And here they were learning O. So how this page would work was they would cut this out of the pace, then we would have something that we would glue on that was an O sound item, like I can't remember now what, oatmeal I think is what we do on the O's, and then they look at the letter. This one we would be saying the names of the items on the page, pointing to the O sound words, and then coloring the O sound words. On this page I would be saying to circle the D or circle the G, and they would look to see which letter it is, or the sound. I might see the sound. Circle the W, and they would circle that. In kindergarten, the PACE test is not taken out. It's actually just usually the last page or the last couple pages of the PACE, and they'll have this little different border around the edge. So that's the actual test, is just part of the PACE itself. Because I didn't have a lot of PACEs to look at, I went ahead and got out this little scrapbook that I had made from when my oldest son was in kindergarten, so I could show you a little bit of what the schoolwork looked like from other subjects. So he's so cute. We made seaweed soup. It was green chicken and noodles because Sandy Sunfish had seaweed soup. So I just made that up to do along with it. These are copies of all of the letter pages we did. So we had beans for B, feathers on the F, toothpicks and lace. Those are kernels of popcorn, cotton, dots, watermelon. Sometimes I would just print out little pictures and cut them out for them to glue on because we couldn't find anything that was appropriate. So this would be a his math test from his second PACE. So he had to circle 1 dog, 2 frogs, 3 for the pigs, there was 4 fish, and so on. This was learning more and less from PACE 9. It's funny, this thing is like 10 years old. I never imagined that I would be making a video showing it to people someday. This was from the second science PACE when we were learning Fox, and I liked this page because he did such a good job staying in the lines, because a lot of kindergarten is just learning coordination, and so they do a lot of coloring and drawing. Here is another science PACE where he had to draw a snowman on the picture, and he also decided to draw a spider just because I guess spiders feel wintry, huh? This was from English, the third English PACE. He was doing patterns, so he had to do red, blue, red, so on. This one, they had to color each kind of fruit a particular color. So I would say color the pineapple brown, and then he had to do that. And then they had to draw a line to put them all in the basket. And here's another, this is toward, let's see, the 9th English PACE. So he was having to draw, he's supposed to draw a line from the B to the flower without touching the lines. And you can see that that can be kind of difficult when you're still learning to control your hand. And this was my son Asher. He was like 2 or 3 when he did this. But this was all about moms, and so they were just, I think, drawing a line. As I read the story, they would draw a line from the things to the mom, and Asher just scribbled all over it, and it was cute. Okay, so if you order the kit from ACE for all of the kindergarten things, it's going to come with 4 of these manuals: the song CD, coordination development test, the reading readiness test, a progress card. These are individual flashcards. This is a growth chart. If you roll it all out here, you can see that you can hang this up on the wall and measure their growth. It's got AC on it. Then it comes with a number train. These are big cards that you can hang up that have all the numbers for counting. The big display cards that show all the animal pictures and letters. It also comes with a Salvation Songs songbook and then stars and stickers for the star charts. All of this stuff is reusable, so that expense would only be one time if you have more than one child who is going to be using it. Because we use ACE for all of our kids, and we've got 5 who've been through kindergarten, and I have 3 more that will still be using it, and maybe, who knows, maybe more children after that. I'm always looking for some ways to save some money, so we keep all of our word building pages. I just bought them once, and then I cut them apart and put them in page protectors, because word building is just the pictures that go with our stories, so they don't actually write in the word building pages. So then I just save them, and then as we need them I take out that pace worth and put it in their school binders, and then we just reuse them that way. So then on the last page for their test, they're supposed to circle the number according to what order these things happened in the story. So we just use a dry erase marker, and then the next time we erase it and use it again. In the past, when we had a big bulletin board, we didn't have any problem hanging all these up, but they are really big. So I don't know, like 8 by 12 maybe? I'm not really sure. They're really big cards though, and we just don't have room for that now. So I would recommend just sticking with the little flashcards, and they would take up a lot less space if you want to hang them up. Something else that we actually did was, where's the song CD here? We made like a slideshow on some video editing software, so that we put all the pictures to go through, and then the song CD plays with it. So we call it our video bulletin board. So it plays on our TV. We just play, and then we can go to whichever. Actually, Tom made a whole menu and everything with it, but we can pick which letter sounds we want to do, and everything is right on the screen, so we don't even have to hang these up anywhere. And then when we're done, we just turn off the TV and it goes away. I would love to share that with everyone, but I'm pretty sure we might have copyright issues with it, so I'm not going to. But if you know how to edit things and do that, you could do it yourself for your own personal use. So there's an idea for you. We also have our number train as part of that little program that Tom made, so because these are really, really giant cards to hang up, they take up a lot of space. So he actually animated this whole little train that comes out with AC, and it's really cute.
Antelope reads, ah, ah, ah. Antelope reads,
Miss Abby Antelope counts down the tacky taffy on her hands.
There is another option if you don't know how to edit things and you don't have space. In the last math pace, I believe, and science, I'm not for certain, but I think it's there. So you'll just have to look if you order everything. But in the pace itself, it has these a number train that you can cut out, and then the train also has the alphabet pictures on it. The only problem is they are in alphabetical order instead of the order that you learn them. So you would have to do the whole thing at once, but it does give you another option. You could cut these out and maybe laminate them and hang them up and make a train out of it. So it would work for counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But as far as using it for the sounds, you'd have to have the whole thing up so that you could skip around to the correct one, because again, they don't learn them in alphabetical order. So that, you know, that would work. It just wouldn't be totally ideal, but it's an option. Now I'm going to show you how to order your curriculum. So I've went to aceministries.com. You can also type in schooloftomorrow.com and it'll take you to the same place. Then we're going to go to the store. And you have to have an account already set up if you want to order with them. So you'll want to set that up first if you have not done one. Then you go here to Reading Development and kindergarten program right here. So in this kit you get the manuals, the Salvation songs, the display cards, number train, song CD. This would be probably the record keeping set right here, and the paces. So you're going to get that for $348.95. So you'll put one of those in your cart and it looks like you will have everything that you need. Then here on Amazon, this is what I'm seeing right now for that Christian Mother Goose book. There was several, look like some used ones. I'm not sure what the difference is, why some say Volume 1 Trilogy, but it looks like the right thing. So if you're interested, that is right there. So I think that's about it. So if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments and subscribe if you want to keep watching more ACE videos. We'll see you next time.